All right, y'all. I'm not putting up the pictures. We just gonna continue the recap for Married to Medicine reunion, season 11, part 2. So yeah, it's the men time on the stage. You got Andy introducing or saying hi to all of the fellas. Saying hi to the new people, welcoming them to their first reunion. That is Dr. Mimi husband Steve, and that is King. That is their first time. So he starts off was like, well, let's just talk about the elephant in the room, King and Dr. G. Do y'all want to just start this off with like a handshake or whatever? And they looking like, no, no, no. So all the feathers is looking like, huh, Andy? So Dr. Eugene just shook Andy's hand like this is the only handshake you're gonna get. Okay. They're not gonna shake hands. So then they got into the discussion, like he was laughing, Andy was laughing, was like, so Dr. G, you said that this was gonna be a fight to the death. And he bust out laughing and he was just like, who do you think would have won? So everybody looking around like, come on now. Come on now. So they were just talking about it, talking about the incident between him and King and about the pressing charges. It was like they kind of just went over it again. And so just, he was like, well, fellas, do you think y'all will be able to like kind of work this out or hash it out? And King was just basically like, I really don't have a problem with him. I can coexist in many rooms. I don't have a problem with him. My only problem is don't disrespect, just don't be disrespectful. And Dr. G was like, I had no intent on being disrespectful, or if he thought I was being disrespectful, you know, I can, now looking back, I can, control myself. So they kind of like squashed it over from that. Then they kind of got into Dr. G and Dr. Damon. So these were most of the issues between the men. They kind of like they was talking about, starting a band. Excuse me, starting a band because Dr. G did that scene where he was making a rap song and singing or whatever. And so they was like, yeah, we should do that, blah, 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 blah. So then they also was talking about, this was right after they did the conversation between him and Dr. Damon and Dr. G. So Dr. G was saying, so Andy is asking them questions and the fans is asking questions. So basically Dr. Damon is letting him know, like, the way that you behaved, you was a coward. Like you were sending my patients away that I was referring to you, instead of you coming to me and saying what your problem was, what your grievance was, you just rejected my patients. And I thought that we were better than that. I just felt like you handled that situation like a coward. And then when they were saying that some of the cheating allegations, you didn't have my back as my friend. So he's looking like, how am I gonna? He was like, you want me to have your back, but you know what your wife is saying about me, and you don't say nothing. And he was like, and nobody's going to say anything to my wife, basically, Dr. Damon. He was like, all of this stuff is going on and this stuff is being said in social media. And I just felt like when I brung it or mentioned it to you or when we had that conversation, you wasn't trying to hear it. And he was like, yeah, you were a coward. Like Dr. Damon just kept calling him a coward. Now, this is my beef with Dr. Damon. You know what your wife said, the foul word. That could have damaged his professional career. And I'm sure it still impacted him in the way, but you can't see past yourself. You can't see past, you can't put yourself in his shoes. So they was like, well, what would you do if, basically Sweet Tea said these things about you? You don't think that could impact your practice? And he was just like, no, I really don't care. I don't think it would impact anything. That wouldn't even bother me. That wouldn't bother you, but the cheating allegations bother you? Somebody saying on Twitter that you touch children wouldn't bother you? But the fact that he did not vouch for you and your character as far as cheating pissed you off. But you don't see why he pissed off with your wife calling him a foul? P-foul? What world does he live in? And I always just thought Dr. Damon was just so mild mannered, so respectable, so, and I think he still are those things. But what world do you live in where you don't see what your own wife does? Like, why is she excluded and being holding the same standards that you're giving everybody else? Is it because you let her do so that you can do? That's what I think it is, y'all. He lets her do because he doing something. I would hate for that to be true, because then that would take away his character. People make mistakes, but that would take away his character. Okay? But yeah, I just thought that was very disturbing. I do like, Dr. G started laughing. He was like, man, you funny. When he laughed, y'all, as far as how Dr. Damon was responding, as far as him not standing up for his character with the cheating allegations. Like, I don't know if that man a cheater. That's how, basically, I don't know him like that. I don't know what he do when I ain't around. That's what he was saying. So he laughed, and the way that he laughed, it was almost like, bruh, we was doing it together. Bruh, it was me and you together. You acting like I don't really know. But I know. Because it was both of us. So, I don't know. I don't know why my shirt is punchy like that. But anyway, I don't know. I feel like, excuse me, I feel like, you tell me what you think. I feel like it's some truth to this that's going on. I don't care. That's their marriage. Don't care. But that was a sign. That was a sign. So he act like he still was a getting it. He still calling him a coward. Still told him that was like a punk move, a whoop de whoop de whoop de whoop. So basically, he was just like, listen, if I affected you in that way, I apologize. I was not trying to hurt your feelings. I was not trying to be a bad friend. I was just dealing with a lot, and at that time I could not see your patience. That's just what it was. And so he was like, if that's what you say it is, then I'm going to take it as that. And so Andy was like, well, do you forgive him? He was like, yeah, I forgive him because that's the godly thing to do. I forgive him because I'm a good person. I forgive him because he is my friend. So that's where that left off. But before he went that far, Cecil was just like, you don't, if the shoe was on the other foot, you wouldn't feel some kind of way about his wife saying some of the things. You don't see some of the things that your wife says. And he was just like, nobody's going to talk about my wife. So everybody was kind of looking like confused. They were confused. They were just like, are you serious? So that was really wrapping up the men. They had a little kiki moments about, making a band or whatever because Dr. G did the song, and they just kind of replayed that. That was the moments. Okay. So to me, this was just more of a filler episodes. Next week is going to be the part 3. That's going to be it. That is going to be the end, finito. I am interested to see next season. I am interested. They're saying they want to shake things up. They're saying they need to take a longer break. I want to dive into this Simone and Quad issue. So I will be coming back and doing another video on that. But y'all comment down below, what did you get out of part 1 and part 2, or just part 2? All right. Thank you for watching. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm tired.